Hi, this is Pioneer Field Agronomist Marty Loverien here in central Minnesota. This is just a great time to be looking at corn. We're about midway between germination and spiking, where you can begin to see your corn up and down the row. And so it holds a lot of promise. And so just a little bit of a review. You know, when you drop that corn planter into that field, seed hits the soil, you've got moisture there, it begins to rehydrate that seed with the moisture that's joining it, and there kind of forms a little bit of a re-wetting plane that moves from the outside inward, rehydrating all those cells. If the first water into that plant, first 24 hours or maybe even out to 72 hours that seed is in the ground, if that water that is the first drink that it gets is super cold from a cold rain or just the coldness of several days back to back, or maybe there's some snow on top of that planted corn and the melt water from it is super cold, that creates some real challenges, because that cold water, as it wets that seed, it creates some brittleness in the cell walls, and those brittle cell walls are easily damaged, split open, cell contents can kind of spill out, and also it can create some deformities because those tissues that are emerging from that seed then are more inclined to be deformed. And so that's what we want to talk about when we talk about stress emergence or cold stress, which can limit stand and is a good item to be looking for right now in your fields. Typically what you see as that plant germinates, or that seed germinates, and normally you're going to have a nice straight coleoptile. First the radical root forms, and the second thing then is the coleoptile being pushed to the surface by the mesocotyl. And those structures typically are nice and straight, heading away from gravity straight to emerge, and the root heading towards gravity straight down. But if you've got cold stress, those tissues could coil back on themselves, coil back onto the seed very tightly. You might see it coiled tightly around the seed, may see corkscrewing or a lot of twisting on that coleoptile and mesocotyl. And because the coleoptile is largely a thickened wrapper with a seam on it that pushes the plumule leaf to the soil surface, if there's anything that causes that seam in the coleoptile to split open, and if it's wrapped or twisted, it's going to split open, the plant's going to leaf out, and then you'll have some reduction in stand for those plants that aren't close enough to the surface to be able to emerge. So that's where the stand loss comes from with cold stress and stress emergence.
That concludes this Pioneer Growing Point Agronomy video podcast. Visit our page on pioneer.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook for more agronomy insights.